everybody, Charles here. Welcome to Backroads Living. In today's video we're going to be talking about inflation and what it could look like by the end of the year. Before we do that though, I want to say thank you to all the folks who have went over to our locals channel. We have the link to that channel in the description box below. Just click the see more section there and it'll open up a window below and you can find the link there. That's where we go to talk about things that we can't talk about here, things that we can talk in depth about and express our opinions about without worrying about censorship. But we did pick up some more members and new supporters over there, so thank you to both of you all. Thank you for the new members and thank you for the new supporters. We really appreciate that. We're about 20 away, 19 away from reaching that 30 threshold of supporters, so we can open up the new tier over there. And when we get there, I think you'll really enjoy it if you're a supporter of the channel. But anyway, there's a lot going on around the world, and today we're just going to kind of focus on what's going on in our country. And we really need to be focusing on inflation because it is coming. We already see it. At this point right now, we're living in inflated times and inflated prices. For the past few months, we have seen prices increase at the grocery stores, just pretty much all the way across the board. I've heard some really extreme prices from people who have emailed me. Meat prices in some places are just crazy high. Poultry and especially beef have just gone through the roof. We're finding a lot of stores that, and I don't know why it's happening or why it's rolling out this way, excuse me, but we're finding a lot of stores that are having empty shelves, just completely empty shelves. And then we're finding other stores that are having a struggle keeping up, putting stock on the shelves. And those are stores that are just fronting shelves and they'll have just one or two cans of something in the front and nothing behind them. And we're seeing a lot of that. A lot of people are sending me emails and commenting in our comments below that they're seeing these kind of things take place in their area. And not only is inflation a problem for the United States right now, and going to be a much worse problem by the end of the year. I'm going to let you see an expert here talking about the coming inflation. But I still think that we're going to see food shortages. We have seen so much go wrong and so many things happen around the world and in our own country with corn destroyed and soy destroyed and in other countries just millions of acres of rice destroyed from flooding and from droughts and just all kinds of things. And now we've got all this stuff going on in California and the Northeast or the Northwest out there, and there's going to be just tons and tons and tons of vegetables and crops like that, fruits that we're not going to be able to put into the grocery stores because of that. And it's going to cause a shortage on food along with the inflation that's going on right now, plus the inflation that's coming later on in the year, according to this expert. So let's go here and read a little bit from this article, and then we're going to jump and listen to what the expert has to say. Here's the article I was going to show you, and the next article, there's going to be two, will have a video from a inflation expert that I want you to listen to and see what you think about the coming fall. Now this article says USDA crop tour warns. Now this is the tour during all the fires and droughts and everything that's been going on across the United States, especially in California and the upper Midwest. It's not a good outlook, and we've got some things to look to this fall that we really need to be prepping for. So let's read this. It says, crop conditions for soybeans and corn have worsened in the latest crop tour findings in the U.S., which confirmed hot and dry weather this summer has taken a toll on yields. Now let's think just a second. Last year there was a massive storm throughout the Midwest that destroyed millions of acres of corn and soybean. And again, we had throughout the world, we had rice crops and soy crops, and everything you can think of was really damaged and destroyed from floods and everything else. And this year we've been eating last year's surplus. So we're coming into a time that we're going to be depending on a surplus that's going to be very weak. And you know, I think when we talk about the grocery stores and stuff, that may be part of what we're seeing. We may be seeing that surplus that's running out in certain areas or certain places throughout the United States. I don't really know. There's something going on with the grocery chains and grocery stores that isn't adding up. One store will be heavily stocked and another will be empty. One state will have several stores stocked and another one will be empty, and I don't understand that, but it could have something to do with this. I don't know. But anyway, it says, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, latest crop report, soybeans in good to excellent condition dropped 3% points from the previous week to 57%. The figure missed analysis estimates of 60%. USDA found that corn in the same condition fell 2% to 62%. They expected it to be 64%. The data is suggestive that this summer's mega drought and back-to-back heat waves across the northwest of the U.S. and Midwest are taking a toll on crops. The latest drought monitor shows the U.S. West continues to experience a severe drought. August 12th here is when this map was done, but it's still the same way. We have all this area here in the Midwest, California, Oregon, North and South Dakota over here. All these states here are still in severe drought, and we've talked about this before, that we get like 2/3 of our crops as far as vegetables and fruits from these areas here that are in a mega drought here in the United States. So this is definitely going to affect how much fruit and vegetables are available to the United States itself. And I know that we can try to increase our imports from other countries, but many of these other countries have experienced droughts and things themselves, and they're needing their food. So this may work and this may not. But I do know that from the numbers that we're seeing here and from the person that we're going to listen to in just a minute, that things are not looking good for the fall. So I'm hoping that that by showing this video today, that you'll buy what you can now while it's still cheaper than it's going to be. Listen, things are going to get really pricey this fall. They really are. It says last week's USDA World Agricultural Supply and Demand Estimate report showed declining grain supplies would keep food inflation elevated. The closely watched supply and demand report slashed estimates for corn yields and stockpiles. World inventories for wheat were reported near a 5-year low. Soybeans and corn in Chicago have been rising for the last several days. Wheat in Chicago was up for a 4th day and trading near a decade high. There's not as much of it to go around. The prices are getting higher and higher. Said that the global inventories were near a 5-year low for the wheat also. When this stuff gets down to where you don't have any of it, folks, you can't afford it. It gets so expensive, you just can't afford this stuff. And it says the Bloomberg Gains Index is up 81% since the beginning of the virus pandemic. Diminished crop yields and inventories due to adverse weather conditions mean food inflation will be spiking around or sticking around well through 2022. So we can look for this all year next year as well. And what does this all mean for the average consumer? You and I, the folks that go out to the grocery stores and buy the groceries, grocery prices are expected to surge. Didn't say just raise. They're expected to surge later this year. Well, let's see what one of these analyses say. This is another article I'm going to read just a little bit, and then I'm going to let you watch this video with me. Grocery prices could raise 10 to 14% by October. That's a lot, 10 to 14 cents on the dollar. It says American families are already struggling amid mounting price inflation that's eating away at their budgets with higher costs for housing, vehicles, and more. Yet a top CEO is warning that the growing inflation problem facing Americans could get much worse in the coming months. Now we're looking at this article here says 10 to 14%, and this CEO says the same thing. And this is on top of where we're at already, and we're already living in inflated prices. And they're expecting these prices just to keep rising. So let's look and see down here, and I'd like your input on this. There's something he says at the end of this section of this video I'm going to show you. I'd really like your input. But anyway, it says the latest June data already show price inflation at a 13-year high, with prices having seen 5.4% year over year. So we're just it's just getting higher and higher and higher prices and of food and everything. It's getting more expensive to buy it, and look at all the jobs that's been lost this year because of this pandemic. Look at the people that's been laid off, or people that's lost their businesses, and we're talking about inflation. It's not going to be a good year for people. But anyway, I wanted to play this. I want to go back to the start of it. I just wanted you folks to hear this and see what you think. Okay, so I'm going to enlarge it here.
This now about consumer prices that have jumped 5.4% over the past year. Everyone's talking about how much more expensive items are, grocery items, you name it. Let's bring in John Katsimatidis, the CEO of Gristedes Foods. John, great to have you with us this morning. How is this inflation affecting your business?
Well, thank you for having me. We're both in the food business and we're in the oil business, and food prices are getting higher, and we expect even more increases by October, and we're seeing anywhere from 10 to 14% by October 1st. So it's a real number. And oil prices, I know they're a little bit off today, but I expect even higher numbers, and it's a real, it's a sine wave, and everything just goes up and down. But I expect by October you're going to have over a 6% annualized rate of inflation.
Here's the question.
And food prices.
Are you having to? I was going to say, are you having to pass those extra costs on to consumers?
You're having to pass those extra costs on to consumers?
Well, you have to pass it on. Otherwise, you're not doing your duty to God, your country.
You have to pass it on. If not, you're not doing your duty to God and your country.
Your employees, and your company.
Right. All right.
I'm flabbergasted. I understand that you have to raise your prices, when inflation, when the cost of goods goes up, you have to raise your prices if you're a business to keep up your profit margin. I mean, it's just simple math. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that part out, but he's talking about 10 to 14%. He said that's a real number by fall of the year. And then he went on to say that if you don't raise your prices, then you're not doing your duty to God, your country, your employees, and your company. I don't know where that has anything to do with doing your duty to God or your country. I'm just a little baffled on that one. But anyway, these things are going to be real things that we're going to have to deal with this fall. We've already dealt with 5% inflation this year, and now they're saying that up to 14% this fall. Guys, things are going to get real, and we talk about this a lot, and when we have live videos, we talk about a lot of things, and we joke about a lot of things and say a lot of things, but the issue here is that when this stuff gets real, when, as the old saying is, the rubber meets the road, talk don't help us anymore. Discussing things like this doesn't help us anymore. We have to be prepared at that point. I would highly advise you, if you need meat, if you're short on your meat preps, get them now. meat's already in certain areas of the country, meat is already skyrocketing in prices. Things that you like, things that you consume a lot of in your regular daily diet, if you're not stocked up on that, I would recommend buying it now if you have the money to buy it with, because this fall is going to be much higher. And I don't look forward to that, and I know no one else does. It's just but it's just a reality. So, thank you all for watching our video today. And if you haven't liked the video, stop right now, give us a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon when it appears to be notified of the new videos as we upload them. Again, don't forget our new Locals channel over on the locals.com there. The link is in the description box below. And as always, we pray that you get your house in order, because it really is getting nearer and nearer that things are going to start getting tougher and tougher and tougher. Again, don't forget, if you're short on something, get it now if you can afford it, because it's going to cost more this fall. Guys, we love you. Thank you again for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next video.